Stories Podcast, your number one show for everything guitar.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the
Hello.
Guitar Stories Podcast with my friend Dan and my new friend, Rob Laing. Hi, Rob.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Rob. We're having we're having huge technical issues as normal, being a Guitar Stories podcast. Dan has had some audio issues, so we're apparently live. It might take us a few seconds to get into the show because of technical issues, so please forgive us. Rob, do you hear me loud and clear?
I do.
Good. We also hear you loud, or at least I hear you loud and clear. Let us know in the chat if, firstly, if you're there, and secondly, if we're coming through loud and clear, the three of us. Three of us.
All right.
Dan, are you with us?
I'm with you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. And you hear me. Did you hear Rob when Rob said hello?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. It's working, gentlemen. It's working. I don't see the chat at all. Oh, there's the chat. Hello to Amanda. Hello, Sarang. Hello, Buzzle. Hello, Poo Ninja. Hello, Michiel. Hello, Valeria. Hello to everybody that's joined us from the internet webs and from whichever circle you've come from. Welcome to the Guitar Stories Podcast. Episode official 63, right, Dan?
That is correct, yeah.
Right. Because we had a mishap with Jack Gardner, and I got my numbers all around wrong. Dan, have you got a new chair, Dan? Because you're like lower. We're going down like tiered.
Oh.
Like,
Well, I think I gotta just readjust.
we're like the three bears, like Daddy, Baby, and Mummy. So I'm too big. Dan's too small. Rob is just right.
All right. So then let's just adjust that.
Yeah, that's a lovely jumper you're wearing, Dan. What's the head count on that?
Is that better?
That's much better.
Awesome.
Much better. So, welcome to the show, everybody. With Rob Laing, it's Guitar Stories 63. We're going to talk to Rob about his past work at things like Total Guitar and also his current work at things like musicradar.com. But first, we've got lots of guitar news that Dan and I did not get to discuss because we were having technical issues. So I'm going to surprise Dan with the news, as I'm going to surprise Rob with the news because we didn't get to discuss it because of all the stuff that was going on. But for me, the biggest news this past 7 days, gentlemen, was the fact that guitars were used on stage in things like the Super Bowl. So we had, and if I bring up a little picture, we had the Silver Sky PRS, which was chrome wrapped. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay. Any advance on yeah? Oh no, Rob's crashed.
Yeah, I think Rob is
To
gone.
the land of Rob's gone. Oh dear.
We're off for a great start.
Wow, what a start. What I'm going to do is kick Rob out and then click him again and see if that happens. He had some Bluetooth issues, so I don't know what the issue is. I can say that it is not Austrian internet this week. There he is. That's what Rob looks like on a freeze frame. I'll kick him out for a minute while we talk about the news. So my question is, they kept saying, PRS were promoting this. They were saying that it was a Silver Sky wrapped in chrome, and why didn't they say it was wrapped in silver? That didn't make any sense to me because, silver, chrome, it's kind of the same thing.
Maybe it's too close to the actual Silver Sky name because he was playing the Silver Sky.
I don't know. But we also saw another guitar that Dan, you and I were talking about offline in our private lives. Where is it? There's the picture. At the Brit Awards. And it was a Les Paul from Gibson with a flamethrower in it. And if you haven't seen it, then I urge you to Google flamethrower guitar Brit Awards or something. What I will say is the guitar performance was admirable because he'd only been playing 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that takes a lot of cojones to get on stage and play guitar when you've only been playing for 4 months. Knowing that, I'm trying to skirt around the fact that I don't think it was very good, but considering he'd been playing for 4 months, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your opinion, Dan? Help me dig myself out of this hole.
Well, I totally agree. The performance itself was definitely okay for him just having played the guitar for 4 months. But let me just add that the responsibility that he had, that was a totally different animal because he had a effing flamethrower. So you don't necessarily like move slightly around. Otherwise they will like
Well, I read this.
yeah.
I read that he was attached to this. The flamethrower is attached to a second strap on the guitar, and if he were to turn around, there's a cutoff, which is either controlled by a person off stage. But if he were to turn, because there was a choir behind him, they would cut it off. And thankfully, we didn't have to test the cutting off capabilities of his stagehand. We got Rob back. Hang on, Rob is back. Hello, Rob.
No idea what happened there. Sorry.
No
You
worries.
still
You're
were
back. We were
still
just
lovely.
talking. We're talking about how great you were, and
Good.
also about this, Rob. I'm going to put it on screen. The flamethrower Les Paul at the Brit Awards. Did you see this? Oh no!
Have I frozen?
No. Oh, you're back. You just didn't respond. That's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Phew. Oh, you went all Anna and Elsa on us.
I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on
the
here.
Brit Awards, the flamethrower Les Paul. Did you see this?
I did, yes. I was actually at the Brit Awards, but
No way! Awesome.
but from a fair distance, yes. That's the only time I've ever been to an award ceremony, so it's not a normal occurrence.
Okay. How was it?
It was good, yeah. It was strange being there during the advertising breaks, and the guy comes on and gets the crowd going. Yeah.
Did you make some noise?
I think so, yeah. A bit of noise. But yes,
Okay.
it was unexpected that. Yeah. He played like a
we,
finger style solo.
Yeah, he'd only been playing 4 months. I read an article today on another website about guitars. We don't need to talk about that one. But it was talking about how it's the guitar tech from Biffy Clyro who helped set up the flamethrower capabilities of the Les Paul, and he bought a lot of guitars from charity shops to test out, like they were going to route a channel in the neck and all this sort of stuff. And they ended up just M6 bolting it to the headstock, which might have made the Les Paul stronger. You never know, just to get a little Gibson dig in there. But yeah, regardless, it looks phenomenal. I think that the flamethrower is a great idea. Of course, it's that. Have you seen Mad Max Fury Road, Dan?
Oh yeah.
With the classic. Yeah,
On the big
it reminded me
wagon,
of that, but it's
yeah.
real live and
Yeah.
dangerous. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was really, the news was about guitars being in the mainstream, because guitars aren't generally mainstream music, so to speak. But it's good to see them there. So that was my piece of news. Dan has a piece of news that he can very educatedly speak about. Dan?
Yeah. What is it? Show me.
You know what it is. You sent me the flipping picture.
Alrighty. Yeah.
It's a very special year.
Oh yeah, very special year. 50th anniversary. Hoshino USA, aka Ibanez USA, is celebrating their 50th anniversary, and on that occasion they have released, I think it's 53 guitars in total, but who's counting between friends, and they are amazing. Yeah, it's a pretty cool collection of one-offs, either made in the LA custom shop or done by the Japan custom shop. And I think that's, to my knowledge, the first time that LA custom shop or Japan custom shop are kind of open to the public. Yeah. So pretty nice. What do you guys say? Did you spot anything interesting?
The bass, I was writing about this last night, and we got pictures of 3 of them. And specs of 3 of them. The bass, is it the Cherry Blossom bass?
Yep.
Sakura?
Yep.
Yeah, just amazing. Looks absolutely stunning.
Was it on
Yeah,
this screenshot that I put up, Rob? What, is it on there on that screenshot that I've got on screen now?
It isn't.
For the people
The
watching the
Talman
video?
is the Talman that we got
Andy.
details on the Talman and the Iceman. But yeah, all three looked incredible.
Andy. Of
Yes,
course
Dan?
it's not. Because it's a bass.
Oh yeah, it's a bass. Sorry.
It's guitars only on the
I
screenshot,
thought
right?
we were,
I've gone and
to
spoiled
our
it now,
brothers
man.
and our brethren and sestrin. Yeah. No, not at all. Not at all. We can talk about bass. In fact, we probably have at least one bass player in the chat who will be dropping us a super chat at some point.
No pressure.
Michiel, you can feel free to do it now. No pressure, but feel free to do it now. Yeah. So, which guitars did you write about, Rob? The Talman, the bass, and you said
And
there were
the
three.
Iceman.
What was the third one? The
Iceman.
Iceman.
Yeah,
Root beer.
yeah, very nice. Very
Great.
nice. And the Talman is it a string neck three?
Neck
I
through.
think.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a bolt one. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's good.
When Dan wrote to me about it, when Dan wrote, he said that I can play bad cop, and I didn't know what that meant, and he just wrote back prices. So then he sent me the prices. Dan, those are some prices.
Yeah.
15,000 was the number that I saw, and then I just sort of clicked away because I understand. $15,000? Is that $15,000 you sent me?
That's correct. Yep. No, that's MSRP. I mean, I think they start at 9 or 10 grand, and depending on the model, they can go up to like 25K. So fairly
Wow.
steep. Yeah.
But
I mean,
would you say they're collectors, or it's a collection opportunity, right?
yeah. I mean, usually LA custom shop guitars are quite rare on eBay or Reverb. So now as a mere mortal, like a rich mere mortal, you can actually buy a LA custom shop guitar.
We have our super chat come in. €2 this week. He does not support anti-bass bias, so we normally get 3. Oh dear, we've lost the euro for dissing on our bass cousins. Sorry, bass people. I love a good bass guitar as much as the next guitarist.
Yeah. And those were lovely.
Yeah.
I got to say, some of the nicest models from the Hoshino Anniversary range, they were the basses. But since I had to kind of cut down to less than, I think, like 30 models, I had to make a pick. And I preferred the guitars, obviously. So, sorry.
I don't want to jinx it, but I think that our technical issues have sort of settled. I feel settled now. Does everybody feel settled? Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah,
So, Rob,
okay, cool.
did you get reactions about the article?
I wasn't actually working today, so I don't know how it went down. But it seemed to be doing quite well on the traffic when I had a peek.
Great.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, Ibanez is always popular on the site.
Yeah, on
good to
social
know.
media. It's what I tell Andy all the time.
All the time. I just limit the way we talk about it. I did also notice, Dan, that we were talking about the PRS Silver Sky that was wrapped in chrome, that you posted a photo of the Chrome Boy on your social media. Is that at all linked to the fact that PRS were pushing the Chrome Silver Sky? Or just pure coincidence?
I don't know. Maybe I was kind of biased. I don't know.
Influenced?
Oh,
Were
we
you
received
influenced
another
by
super chat.
all these influence? Yes, we got a super chat from RaxFX. Thank you, RaxFX. We shall put this towards running a cable from Austria to Germany to the UK so we can all talk a little bit more securely. Yeah. Ibanez news. That's good. 50 years does not seem like 1972. That seems ridiculous. When I think 50 years, I'm thinking like that's got to be 50s or 60s. So, yeah, old.
It's actually
I guess, is the word.
72.
I thought that's what I said, but we'll check that back when you edit the audio. What did I say?
I think 62.
Oh, okay. Well, I meant 72 if I said 72. If I said 62, then that's British education for you. Right. There is another piece of news that I want to talk about because 60 Cycle Hum talked about it, so I want to talk about it. It's the fact that Line 6 might be, or possibly have discontinued the DL4 delay pedal. And I just saw it in a Facebook post that was a post of a Gear News post. Have either of you gentlemen got any information at all on the DL4 status that you can share?
It's new to me, but someone actually asked me if I still have my DL4 last night. The guy who sold it to me and wanted to buy
Right.
it back, so he must know something. But I haven't got it anymore. So, oh, clever!
Whoa.
I
Ahead
read
of
it
the
on
game.
Facebook. I went out and bought it straight away because I've been thinking about getting a DL4 for years, and it's one of those things that I thought I'll get one day, and then I'm thinking, I don't want to say clon because that's ridiculous, but something collectible, or purely for the fact I might actually just play the pedals. So I think for the first time ever, live on the show, I'm unboxing. There we go, the DL4 delay modeler from Line 6. I bought one.
Congratulations.
Anybody want to buy it? 7,000 squid, please. Yeah, I'll be plugging that in after the show. But yeah, I bought one. I was influenced. Can't believe it.
It's a good move if they could fake that news and just get sales bumped up.
It really is. But if you think about it, when we're going to move on to your pick of the week, Rob, that gets Line 6 in the news. So,
Yeah,
no such thing as bad promotion. But yeah, Thomann still have some. In Europe, I think Music Store has some. I don't know, but I don't know if the rumor's true. It just appears to be true. And now we're feeding that rumor.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
But regardless, as I said, I always wanted one, and I'm not going to sell it. I'm not that guy. Not yet. Not until I see the prices on Reverb. But yeah. That is my news of the week. I guess we want to do some gear, right? Because there's some gears come out, and we've got some picks of the week. Let's let our guests choose. Rob, would you like to hear my pick of the week first, or Dan's? It really doesn't matter. It's just makes it more interactive.
I don't want to play favourites. Who wants to say first?
Our guests are so diplomatic. You want Andy?
It's Andy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got to hang on. I've got to play a little jingle then.
Andy's pick of the week.
Wow. Thank you, Rob, for letting me go first. My pick of the week is the new, kind of old Fender Telecaster. So it's not a new guitar because it's a Tele. And the reason I picked this is, number one, because I love it. It's the George Harrison Rosewood model that they've released again, but they've just changed it slightly. And I kind of predicted this a few weeks ago on the show because of the Get Back documentary. So it was kind of obvious they were going to do a George Harrison re-release. But this one's kind of special in that it is what's the word? It's got bits cut out of it. It is chambered. That's the word. My goodness. I'm trying to click around the internet because I had to restart the Mac, so things are going wrong. But they've announced a new USA Rosewood Fender Telecaster based on the ones owned by Elvis and George Harrison. Yeah, that's my pick. It's a Tele. Any thoughts?
Why did you pick it?
Because it's a Tele. Full stop. If you want more information, it's because I kind of guessed that it would appear, and it's nice to be right.
Great. So Buzzle is
And also, I
asking
didn't want to.
how much CITES paperwork comes with that guitar.
Yeah, it's the first thing that I thought. Like, how right is it to have a guitar made out of rosewood, or I put my eco hat on for a moment. I don't know, but CITES doesn't exist anymore, or is it
does,
more
but
relaxed?
I think there's exceptions. Yeah.
They're okay with it. Possibly. But yeah. Fender
Well, hang on,
seemed to be
Yeah.
Fender are like making rosewood a higher end thing now, aren't they? As a fretboard.
Didn't they get in trouble, Fender? Like, weren't they telling some porky pies about rosewood and CITES and stuff?
I don't know.
Okay. Ignore what I said then. Fender definitely got in trouble for doing something a few years ago, and I thought it was CITES and rosewood. I'm obviously wrong. Someone in the chat will correct me.
No.
I'm sure.
No. I think that just the
was
regulations have
something.
changed. I think like stuff like Brazilian rosewood is still heavily protected.
Oh, there we go.
Because-
RexFX. Non-Brazilian rosewood is exempt from CITES. Thank you,
Correct, yeah.
RexFX. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I firstly, I like the guitar. I love tellies, and I like that George Harrison rosewood telly. This one's chambered because the originals were renowned for being very, very heavy. Not that I've ever played one. But I think there's always room for a new telly.
Yeah.
I didn't get a price on it. They didn't seem to release price.
I think 3K.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I'll wait
The
for the
neck looks
Squire version.
tasty.
The neck does look gorgeous.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm making
Well,
like
that's
a
my
cheap-
pick.
I'm making a cheapo version of it at the moment. Well, not really, but I've got a mahogany modern player, which is the 2P90, and I put a rosewood neck on it, so it looks much better
Ooh.
now. You had a maple neck before, which is they were the Chinese Fenders, the modern player
Mhm.
2P90s, and yeah, I just got to get the necks not bonding with the body very well. Something I've done wrong. So I'm going to take it to attack this week.
Have you tried screws? I hear those are all the rage.
I thought the nails would be fine. But yeah, I think I've tried a shim, and yeah, it's not happening at the moment. So I'm interested to see what it will sound like.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never played the Chinese, not the modern players. Is it? Did you say?
Yeah, the modern player.
player.
Yeah, it's like it's a 2P90s thin line telly. So it's a rose woody color. But yeah, it came in the maple neck. Never really looked very good on it.
I almost bought a modern player, and then, oh, here's a good story. And then I didn't. There we go. End of story. Apologies. So that is my pick. Dan has a pick, and then we'll go into Rob's pick. Rob, we do not have a jingle for you. I apologize. Sorry. But Dan does have a jingle.
Dan's pick of the week. Dan's pick of the week.
It's a great jingle.
Thanks.
I love it too. I still haven't put it on my phone whenever Andy calls me.
Oh, that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll rework the lyrics for you.
I
So,
think-
Dan, it's your pick of the week. Take it away, sir.
Yeah. So my pick of the week is definitely from the Hoshino Anniversary collection, and I gotta excuse myself to a lot of people that would probably have picked other more progressive or stylistically diverse models, but I am a sucker for that culmination of 80s retro vibe and modern specs. So we're talking about the Roadster 2022 model,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically, taking the old original Roadster shape, the original headstock, and put everything in there that a modern player would like. We've got a fancy flame top. We've got EMGs. We've got gold hardware, locking tremolo. That's just, I don't know. Among all these models, I feel like an old man, but that was just what floated my boat. So it's called the JPCS6, and yeah, as I said, it dates back to the 80s, and I don't know, it just felt amazing, and it looked amazing, and if I had to pick one models, that would be it.
Well, you did have to pick one model, and that was
Yeah,
it.
but for purchase.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Sorry.
I mean, just look
Okay.
at the neck, bird's eye maple neck. that's been stained and gold hardware. And what I find interesting is that it's using a swamp ash body. So I would assume it's also rather lightweight, and that's something that I like.
How
also
much is this
using
going to set us
rosewood.
back, Dan? What's the price
again?
on it?
I think 15K.
Okay,
Nah, not okay.
it's quite a lot of money.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you excuse me to go on a little rant kind of thing, I love the collection. I love the models. I love the idea behind that. But given that you can take that or purchase like 2 custom shop guitars for the same amount, it kind of feels tough to justify the price tag. So hopefully, let's say, I hope that some of these ideas kind of inspire people in the product development to come up with similar ideas for production models.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Do you think
How
it's
do
right
you guys?
to sorry, just do you think it's right to collect these guitars, just to buy them to see them increase in value? I know that's a huge
Hard to
topic.
say. Yeah, that's hard to say. I mean, there will definitely be collector's items, and that's the other side of the coin. I highly doubt that any of these 53 instruments will be gigged at all, and that's very sad sometimes. There's nothing better to see a pro musician kind of take one of those high-end guitars and take them on stage because they look gorgeous and they perform incredibly well. And I just love seeing those, in the stage light. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Rob?
I'd like to see the model itself come back, the Roadster.
Oh yeah.
I think Dan's right. I think this might inspire people to bring things back because it is a classic.
Yeah. I don't know if Hoshino would really consider bringing it back, because with the AZ they kind of brought some sort of legitimate successor to the market. But
Yeah.
still, I like that nod to the 80s, and also seeing that they are still able to build the original shape and bring it to the market kind of at least leaves a little bit of hope that this model might return, at least as some sort of reissue or small run or something like that.
Would be cool.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's space for it in the market. It's just things are moving so quickly now, and with all the new models out for 2022, and I don't know, it would be quite some time in the future, I guess, at least a year or 2 even. I don't know. Depends. But yeah, I think that's a good pick, Dan. Out of all the ones you could have picked, because I've seen a lot of the pictures, I thought that was an interesting choice, and not the one that I thought you would have picked.
Which one would you have thought I picked?
If I can I'll just bring up that big photo again. I thought you were going to go for something more gemmy, but I actually thought you would have gone for, if I can show you, or kind of pointed out, it's a blue one with cavities. Top row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 from the left or 3rd from the right.
Yeah.
Is it an S?
That is an S, yeah.
Okay.
Again,
so
that's from the Japan custom shop. It's called Wind Shear. And they kind of used, what is it? So some sort of chambering that goes through the whole body, which I haven't seen ever on an Ibanez before. Yeah, but the body itself, it's flame maple fingerboard. I think very interesting picks when it comes to the specs.
I think it's quite funky. I like the look of it. Maybe I just would have picked it myself. I don't know. Right, let's ask our guest, Rob. You have a gear pick of the week. It's super, super new. And do you want to tell us what it is?
I'm not reading this off a PDF on my phone.
Good.
It's the Line 6 Catalyst amps that were announced at 6 p.m. this evening. 6 original amplifiers, ranging from pristine clean to modern high gain, all crafted Line 6 sound design team with HX technology in. So they haven't got like LCD screens or anything on them. I believe. I could be wrong about that. I might have read that wrong.
You are right. You are right.
Yeah. So I think they're kind of trying to appeal to maybe the more traditionalist player. Well, for given value. So you got like the HX reverbs in there, which is quite cool.
Mhm.
I really like what Line 6 are doing in general. So I'm interested to see and hear these. I use a power cab myself, which is quite weird because I don't have a Helix anymore. And I love their
Right.
stuff. That's another. Yeah, that's a strange.
Okay. Definitely don't need to justify any gear pick, but
No.
it's a very interesting choice. I watched Henning's video on it, or I watched the first 20 minutes because it's an odyssey. And then I called Henning just to say, I really enjoyed the first 20 minutes. There's something I can't say. Okay, that's in the future. If you're listening in the future, then that's not the only video that Henning's going to release on the Catalyst, I will say. I don't have a Catalyst here. I'm a big fan of the amp that possibly they want to take the crown from, the Boss Katana. And I do work with Line 6, but I don't know if there's a reason, because I'm so vocal about my love for the Boss Katana. And the Catalyst is a pretty close to the bone name when it comes to naming an amp. I think it's a great name, but Catalyst, Katana, very close to each other. It's very clear from the no LCD display, no guff, then a few model amps. I actually think the weak point of the Katana is the reverbs. So I'm really interested to hear the reverbs on the Catalyst. Excuse me. Because I love the reverbs in the HX series. I've got an HX Stump. So if the reverbs are as kick-ass as the HX series, then they might be onto something. But also, Line 6 are really famous for doing firmware updates, like really, really often. So I think that could be something that brings people to the Line 6 Catalyst. Any of that ring true with you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm really impressed with how they're supporting the Helix stuff, especially the Stomp, which is just I think is amazing value. It's, I think, bang for buck. It's hard to top, really. So they just did a massive update. So yeah, it'd be interested to see what the future for these amps will be and how they can be expanded.
Totally agree.
I'm really impressed with the power cab stuff with the speaker models in those. So yeah, I'm really, I know it might, it's a spider. It's not a cool thing to name drop, but Robert Smith uses them, so they can't be that bad.
He's done well for himself.
Yeah, he's had a few hits. So yeah, I'm really interested to hear them. I mean, for some people they might not be the most exciting thing, but yeah, it was yeah, I'm interested to try them out.
Great. What's the price point on them?
They are roughly the same price as the Katanas. So MRS, is it MRSP or Met price, depending on where you are, was more expensive. But then I looked at them. They're about what you'd expect to pay for them without giving you
the 60 is $420 up to the Catalyst 200, which is $700.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's similar priced amps out there already. But I'm actually seeing prices on Sweetwater for $299, $399, and $499. So actual prices are a little bit lower.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, well I love the look, Rob. I think the look is amazing. I think they look really sexy. Not that should be what you're doing in an amp, but I like the look very much.
I wonder if they got, I don't know if I joke, but if they got the tilt back stand that the power cabs have got. I love that on the power cab, because I always struggle to hear myself on stage, and that just being able to tilt it back is cool. That should be in all combos, should have those in my opinion.
I'm just looking at the pictures on Sweetwater, and it doesn't look like it does have the tilt. No, what's that down there? No, it's just a screw. No, there's no tilt back on it as far as I can see.
You'll have to get an amp stand. Not very cool turning up with amp stand, is it?
No. Or just a chair, Rob. What's wrong with just throwing it on a chair?
I've used all types of things.
The flight cases.
Go on.
Yeah.
What's the cabinet they're using? It's their own proprietary?
Do you mean the speaker?
Yeah. Sorry,
It's called the Catalyst HC, and then there's the HC60 or the HC100 or the HC200. I haven't seen the 200 really, but
Mhm.
I don't know what it's based on, but it's proprietary.
All right.
There's 18 additional effects, which is so it's far more than just reverb. Then wow, that is.
I mean,
I wonder how that's going to
killer-
work with the menus. Whether it's like a dial.
it could be again like the Boss Katana, where you've got limited features on board and then more edit stuff within the
Sparks like
software.
that as well. Yeah.
Which and I really like the Line 6 software as well, so that really has some possibility to be good.
Great.
That's what they could. But a killer combination is the HX Stomp and the Boss Katana. So if they can take that away from Boss, then they've got a great product in their hands. But it's a big if.
So, Andy, speaking of the Katana, do you think Line 6 should have released a head-only version as well?
Yes. Yeah, but they're replacing. There was a head version of the Spider, right? Not recently. Like the Spider
think so, yeah.
5 was the last one we had. I should be more clued up on this. I will say that if they did release a head, then it would be a real battle against the Katana. I think that could come. I think it makes sense to make the combos first, especially if their proprietary speaker is so connected to the sound of the Catalyst. So I don't know. I always appreciate a head.
Fender did that with the Mustang, didn't they?
Mm.
The Mustang, yeah. Always like those.
Yeah,
Underrated.
I sold a Mustang once and almost didn't sell it because I put it on the twin setting when the guy was here to check it, and I loved it so much, but I kind of miss them.
Yeah, I think even the guy from the Killers has used Mustangs for the clean models.
Yeah, the clean stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
Just checking the chat. If you're in the chat right now, then I am reading the chat stuff. I wasn't trying to tempt fate by clicking around too much in case we end up losing one of us. But yeah, Rob, your choice has been well received. I think possibly more well received than Dan's choice and my choice. But to find out whose choice has been the best received, it is time to buy, borrow, or burn, which is like a game you played in school, Rob, when you had maybe some celebrities and a choice of 3 things you would do with said celebrities. But in this case, it's your pick of the week, it's my pick of the week, it's Dan's pick of the week, and we have to decide if we would buy, borrow, or burn these things. So I'll play you a little jingle, then we can decide.
I borrow or burn.
Yes, it's buy, borrow, burn. So if you're in the live chat right now, let us know which pick you would buy, which you would borrow, which you would burn. I hope you're not going to burn a $15,000 Ibanez. That would be ridiculous. But if you do, that's your choice. I am going to pick for Dan first, and then Dan can pick either for me or for Rob. We'll just let it play out. I think Dan would buy the Ibanez, borrow the Fender Tele, and burn the Line 6 Catalyst. No, I've changed my mind. Don't react. Thank you, deadpan face Dan. Buy the Ibanez, borrow the Catalyst, burn the Fender. That's my decision. Dan, am I close?
You were right previously.
No,
you changed it for the worse. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely buying the Ibanez if I had the fund, so hypothetically buying it. The Rosewood Telly, I'm pretty intrigued. I think the price tag might put a couple people off, but still it looks interesting. I think tone-wise, it's always a nice addition to the arsenal.
Sure. Okay. So I didn't get it right. Before you choose for one of us, Dan, let's go to the chat. We've got Rex FX would buy the telly, borrow the Katanaist, and ignore the Ibanez. Oh, well, at least he's not gonna. At least he's not gonna
Well
burn it.
played.
Valeria, she would buy the Ibanez, borrow the Catalyst, and burn the Fender, just like that Gibson in the Super Bowl. Okay. Fergie in France would buy a premium version of the Ibanez Roadster. But what's it with you people changing the rules?
But well played.
Borrow the Line 6 and make it into a cool floor amp and burn the telly. Oh dear. Studio Mikhail would borrow the telly, buy the amp, and burn the non-bass by Ibanez. Touche, Mikhail, touche. Let's do one more. Guitar Ruckus would borrow the Catalyst, buy the telly, and burn the Ibanez. Oh dear. Sorry, Dan. All right, Danny, are you picking for me or are you picking for Rob?
I'm picking for Rob.
Okay.
All right. Rob is a experienced guitar player, so I think he would probably vibe with something that's more traditional as well, because he knows the historical value of instruments. So I'm assuming that he would buy the telly, try the Ibanez, just to see how a modernized Roadster would feel compared to the 80s versions, and burn the amps because he probably has better ones in his rehearsal room. How's that?
No, I've cheated, haven't I? Well, I'd actually burn the telly because I love tellies, but I hate heavy guitars. I hate them.
It's chambered.
It's chambered, Rob. It's chambered.
Won't be enough. We know it won't be enough. Never works with Les Pauls. It won't. It will be north of £8, and I can't be doing it. Right. No, sorry. I mean, it could be a lovely guitar, but I'll never. No, I'd rather see it in ashes, but than a heavy guitar.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So you're going to buy the Line 6 amp because that was your pick, or would you borrow that
Yes. Yes. I'll buy the Line 6, and I'll borrow the Roadster.
one? Okay.
So I feel awful saying that about telly.
That's it's part of the game. At least you didn't try and change the rules like everybody in the chat. You took it like a real person. Okay, Rob, would you please choose for me now that we know each other so well?
I think you'll borrow the Catalyst. I think you'll buy the telly, and you'll burn the Ibanez.
Spot on. Sorry, Dan. Sorry, Macaulay Culkin, Dan. Yeah, I can't burn the Catalyst because I have to try it. I could live my life never playing that Ibanez and I'd be happy. But I absolutely have to try the Line 6 Catalyst. And I love that telly. And I'll just buy a wide strap, if it is a little bit more weighty. Or, spend an extra couple of days at the gym. I say extra, spend some days at the gym. Yeah, so by default, I have to burn the Ibanez. So I'm very sorry, Dan, but I could live without it. Is what I'm saying. Is bottom line, I don't need it. It would hurt me in my heart, and I wouldn't do it if you were watching, but I would do it.
All right. Okay.
Melogify wants to know how much the telly weighs. We don't know, and of course, each guitar would be different, ever so slightly. But Rob's right; it's going to be a chunky baby. Even if it's chambered. Well, I hope we haven't upset anybody. And if we have, it's all Rob's fault. Please contact him on his email address available at musicradar.com. Yeah, it's just a game. We're not really going to burn gear. And honestly, I'm not going to buy a $3,000 telly either. But it's part of the game, and we've played it. Whew, okay, I think we got away with it, gents.
Yep, think so too.
Now, people in the chat, we're about to go on to our main topic of talking to Rob about his history and his past, and maybe even his present and his future. So if you have any questions for Rob, then get them ready now, because you can get them in the chat and I can save them. We can ask him. But it is time for Dan. Did you get a chance to prepare anything, or are you going to do it on the fly?
Do my best. Yeah, on the fly.
Okay. Then please, Dan, would you introduce our guest of the week, Mr. Rob Laing?
Absolutely. So our guest of the week today is Mr. Rob Laing, UK-based guitarist and also editor for Music Radar. So he's basically dealing with guitar news and everything that we love and appreciate on a daily basis. Moreover, Rob was also editor for Total Guitar magazine, which happens to be Andy's and my favorite mag, with several several years of subscription. And above and beyond that, I think I've already kind of tackled it quickly or briefly. Rob is also a seasoned guitar player who occasionally gigs and therefore has firsthand experience when it comes to trying new gear and, you know, get a practical impression or practical review of gear, which is always good. So he knows what he's talking about. And we are very happy that he's on the show to discuss the topic. Are guitar mags dead yet? Hopefully not. And we'll try to dig deeper and find out what's next and what the development will be for guitar magazines, online and offline. How was it?
I like the way you added the word "yet," which we didn't actually agree to put in the title.
I did worry when I saw that title. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, Rob, just before we say thank you, just so you know, the title and the thumbnails and stuff is just the wrapping for the good stuff within. It's just to get people to click and watch.
Yeah.
And I will say at the top of this, and I also said it in the trailer for the live show, I do not believe guitar magazines are dead. I believe there's a place for them. But I think that it's about evolving and it's about adaptations. And I think that this is the reason we wanted to talk to you about this, because you were with Total Guitar, now you're with Music Radar and you're online, and that's the kind of evolution that I was thinking. So over to you. Thank you for coming. What's it like doing what you do?
Well, one other thing is I started on Guitarist magazine, so I don't know how many years, but it must have been maybe about 7 years. So I've worked in guitar. I've worked for Future, that owns the magazines and the website, it'll be 17 years in May. So quite a while. I joined in 2005 on Guitarist magazine. So yeah, it's crazy how fast that's gone. And yeah, I've been thinking, you know, coming on, because I'm not out there. I haven't got like a social media following. I'm quite a behind the scenes type person, maybe you could say. So I'm coming from quite a different angle, I guess. And one thing I'd like to, maybe if I can give, is insight on how to get into that. There isn't just one way into the industry or the side.
Please, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like I can't speak for guitar magazines. I feel a bit bad, seeing as I've jumped ship, but I was on them for a long time before I jumped, 15 years. So yeah, I didn't jump. You know, it was
were you pushed?
Like it was some kind of a ship.
Sorry,
but yeah, it was really good that you guys appreciate Total Guitar, and you know, it's really nice anytime we used to hear that, you know. And I still do a lot of reviews for Total Guitar. I'm one of their main review guys. So I'm still
I wouldn't be here without Total Guitar. Just so you know, Total Guitar was
That's amazing.
That's how I learned guitar. I did dip off. You know, I don't have a subscription currently. I did have in a few years, or last year. And then when I moved to Austria, things got complicated with shipping, and it got really, really expensive. But yeah, Total Guitar, as Dan said, is my favorite and always has been. It has a certain, I like the feeling that magazine has. It's kind of It's a very friendly magazine, whereas Guitarist was more. I felt pressure to be good with Guitarist and take it seriously. But Total Guitar, I thought I could just pick it up, and there was no pressure to be good, and there was lots of nice little snippets to learn stuff, which was one of my favorite things.
That's good. I mean, seeing what you do and this show, I really feel like it has that inclusive kind of spirit to it that I recognize in Total Guitar. So it's really cool to hear you say that, because I feel like you can definitely see that. That's really, and it's great that it's had some influence on
That's
you.
great.
It's amazing. I still love
Absolutely, yeah.
Guitarist as well, by the way.
Yeah, I have Guitarist magazines. It's now grown up a
Yeah.
little bit. I feel I'm worthy of reading it. But yeah, Total Guitar was more accessible and, as you say, inclusive. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, and
so-
you had some great title stories as well. I think Total Guitar is one of the few magazines that really had remarkable and, let's say, unique stories. I vividly remember and I talked with Andy about that, the Ahabo Rabo taco salad feature. I think that was a little bit before
Alter
your
Bridge, yeah.
time, but it had been dug out for the vault section again, and that was fire. We had a star guitarist kind of play a song on a CD, and you could actually jam with it and rehearse that track, and that was mind-blowing.
Yeah, that was amazing. That is funny. I watched that Alter Bridge in Bristol the night they played that, and it was just like, I worked on Guitarist then, and I was jealous, that the Total Guitar had got that.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, this is crazy. They've written a song for the magazine, and they're performing it on stage. It was like, what the? So yeah, that was a very cool thing. I was in no way responsible for it. But yeah,
some spirit maybe. But these magazines, including Music Radar, are all under Future Publishing. That's right, or Future
yes,
now. Is it?
That's right. Called. Yeah, and that's Guitar World as well. So Guitar World was owned by Future, then it wasn't. Now it's back again. So, and this is where it might get confusing. The magazines, their online home is all at at Guitar World's website now. It was previously on Music Radar, so they've all moved across to Guitar World. So you'll find all those magazines: Guitar Techniques, Guitarist, Bass Player, and Total Guitar are all on the Guitar World website. So that's like
there's
their
a bass magazine.
Oh, don't speak of it. So yeah, they're all.
I'm just poking the bear that is McKeel. Yeah. So we have Guitar World, which is the home of the magazines. Then how does Music Radar fit into this? To jump to the present.
So
briefly.
So that coincided with me joining Music Radar. So Music Radar is kind of its own thing now, in terms of guitar coverage. And I don't have a team over there. It's just me. So juggle a lot of plates. No, it's not even it's mixing metaphors there, but yeah.
Spinning a lot of balls, I think, is the term you're looking for.
Yeah, but we're still, there's a lot of cooperation between the mags and ourselves and Guitar World.
Okay. So how do you decide who gets what? Like in that, when you said you were jealous of the Alter Bridge thing, and you weren't working for Total Guitar at the time, how do you divvy it up?
Well, the mags tend to work fairly autonomously in the approaches that they make. Occasionally, they will team together to offer like a content package to artists, but a lot of the times it's pursuing your own kind of connections. And yeah, there's not as much divvying up as you might think. For instance, if Total Guitar get an interview, that will eventually appear on Guitar World. But Music Radar will have to pursue its own interviews.
Got it. Well, you mentioned at the beginning of the chat that it is, but it also makes sense because it sounds fair and it sounds almost organized. But you mentioned at the beginning of this section that you were going to give some insight into how to get into this, and I'm sure I applaud anyone who makes money from working in any music industry because it's flipping hard. And people think that to be successful in music, you have to be topping the charts, and that's obviously not the case. And thank you to the people that watch this channel, but they're fairly educated. But you've got one of the jobs in guitar. How did you get it?
So it's quite my history of Future's quite unusual, I guess. That I did work experience at the company when I was like 14, 15. At Games Master magazine. So
Games Master magazine.
yeah. This is back. God, this is going right back. The N64 just come out as a Japanese import. So we're going way back. I had a Walkman with a cassette.
Did you meet Dominic Diamond?
No.
Oh.
No, I think the TV thing was quite separate. But so I knew I wanted to work in mags quite early on. But I was more into video games, and then but it certainly wasn't as straightforward as I want to work there, and eventually, I went to university. It was in the back of my mind. I didn't do journalism at university, did politics. But went to work in a bank after university. Decided, okay, I just wanted to go into a workplace after university. Then I decided, right, I need to get on with this. Did a postgrad in journalism. Really, after that, I was like, oh, I can't find a job. Amazingly, while I was in the closing stages of the postgrad, a job came up on Guitarist Mag. I was just like, this is a pipe dream. This won't happen. And eventually, it did. I ended up getting the job somehow. And I was taken on as a production assistant, which is like a junior sub editor. So luckily they let my editor at the time here, Michael Leonard, who's no longer with us, sadly, a great editor. He let me do writing. He knew that I wanted to write, and he gave me opportunities to write. And he let me interview a lot of metal bands that wouldn't usually pair in guitarist. But it was great. I was getting experience. But one thing that helped me get in that interview was I started with some of my friends a metal webzine. We didn't know what we were doing, but we just loved metal, and we wanted to talk about it. We wanted to chat about bands we loved, and I think that helped because they could see that I loved doing it, and I was doing it off my own back. So that's one thing I would say. You need to go to somebody and prove, hey, I've done some writing here. Doesn't matter where. If you show that you love doing it, or I've reviewed gear on my YouTube channel, that'd be the modern equivalent now. Because back then, YouTube was just taking. I remember the day we discovered YouTube in the office. It was like, what the hell? It's crazy. I feel like an old man now. The first thing I looked up, I think, was Pearl Jam's Alive video, because I grew up without MTV and all that stuff. I was like, oh my god, it's like they've got them all. They've got all their videos, and it was. God, I sound old now, don't I? But yeah, this is. So we've seen the emergence of YouTube and YouTubers, and it's amazing to watch. From my perspective, what's happened to the industry. It's hard to kind of succinctly put my perspective on it, because it's crazy. You're seeing all these things happening at once. That print is obviously declining. It's like undeniable. But I don't know. I don't want to talk myself into a pit here.
I just wanted to stay silent, just let you keep talking.
Yeah.
Go on.
But I think it's going right in the direction that we actually wanted to discuss, because like magazines have kind of developed from being like the broad medium that inform guitar players and hobbyists about what's new in gear, what's new in music, to become a more sort of, let's say, niche outlet for the high involvement and geeky readers and fans that are really into learning songs from magazines and get all that content and are willing to pay for it. How do you see how magazines, or even digital magazines or online sources, can position themselves in a world with a plethora of YouTubers and amateur YouTubers and full-time YouTubers and artists like Tim Pierce and others that have their own channel with millions of subs. How do you see that?
Well, I think it's one thing I would draw upon is my experience with Total Guitar is watching. We couldn't put artists on the cover anymore so much. People they were dividing people too much. But what the big uniting thing was lessons and what we call hard benefit, which is showing you how to do something. I think that it's just an alternative. It's not necessarily an either or, where you have a kind of physical thing in front of you to sit down with. And I think that is a huge attraction, and it still is for me, to sit down with a mag and learn from that. As great as YouTube is, great in different ways. It is, understandably it's challenging, because there's a world of opportunity. I think one of the jobs of a mag is to filter great lessons and to have real succinct lessons. Like we used to do chord issues, where we'd filter the chord essentials, really carefully curated lessons. And that's all, YouTube has got all of that, but it's finding it and knowing where to look for.
Sure.
In terms of song tab, there's some really inaccurate tab online. Like I won't mention the site, but you know what site. So you'll know that the Total Guitar tab has been carefully checked, and it's accurate, 100% accurate. So that's one thing, but yeah, I can. It's challenging in print. It really is. It's hard work. It's it's great, and I got you get to meet your heroes and things like that. So I'm I'm not complaining about it, but it is and as your roles are, it's constantly, you have to deliver the right content that connects with people.
Yeah.
Do you think that content must be more mainstream or even more niche? Because I think there's also quite contrary opinions how those magazines should appeal, either like a very wide audience or just very specialized players and readers.
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think different mags approach that in different ways. I think Total Guitar, I can only speak from my time on the mag, recognize that the thing that unites people is learning, trying to get better. So we honed in on that. Everybody wants to learn more chords. Everyone wants to be better at blues, or wants to learn certain facets of the blues. Whereas other mags might take a different approach, like the guitar magazines honed in on quite niche builders and things, which I think is really cool. And I work with those guys on Guitarist. Some of the guys that are over on that title, so we all know each other. There's not this like, I mean, we don't like them, but but we all work together.
It's the same with YouTube guitarists. I can tell you that.
And then guitar. And then guitarists, obviously an aspirational, I can't really speak for these mags. This is my perspective on them, where it's very aspirational. But they, guitarist still does, affordable gear as well. So yeah, it's a mag. Ideally, a mag is like a snapshot on the world of guitar, isn't it? It's how they filter that. It's such a huge subject.
I mean, when it comes to lessons, I mean, I think you've done a great job of kind of sort of getting just the main juice out of that whole topic just in a few minutes. But one of the questions we've asked in the past, online educators or online guitar educators, I'm not sure if it was on this show, but on some conversation I had with David Wallerman about how they put out lessons on YouTube, but you can buy their courses. And I remember asking him, why should someone buy your course if they can get the stuff free on YouTube? And his answer was that when you buy the courses and things like that, they're curated, they're controlled, they're filtered, they are logical in progression. Whereas if you're just searching through YouTube, is there a sixth note in the pentatonic scale or something, then you can find 100 videos that might be good or might not. And especially since that YouTube has removed the dislike counter, it's even more responsibility on places like magazines and online courses to provide good quality learning material. I mean, saying that, there is some great free stuff out there, some phenomenal free stuff out there. But absolutely, I agree with you saying about it being curated and filtered. And for me, the magazines are an experience. It's something tangible. And also, you can leave them on your coffee table and people can say, "Oh, you play guitar, do you?" And you go, "Oh, yes. Would you like to see my collection? Come and see my pedals." You know, so it's a conversation opener. But
I totally agree. And I think the big thing for me when I was on mags is, especially towards, you know, the last, when I was editor, was value. How much value are we giving the reader? Like I was upset, you know, I was very much in my head is, why should someone buy this? You know, walking into a newsagent's, and, you know, looking back on those issues, you know, I've got a lot of issues here. It's got so much value in them. They've got so much value in them. And, you know, if you sit down with them and you can go back to them, that was a big thing for me. It's like, I want someone to keep this thing and I want them to go back to it. So there's a phrase I use a lot about gear as well, is option paralysis. And I find that with YouTube, I just don't know where to start if I want to learn something sometimes. I mean, it's cool that people gravitate and they subscribe to certain tutors, but with a subject like chords, or, you know, pentatonic scale, it can be overwhelming. So I think it's cool that mags can provide that. And even on the subjects of gear topics as well. I mean, there's writers for guitarists that are so experienced.
Absolutely. But the thing with the YouTube channel, and I'm kind of proof of that, is that anyone can open up a YouTube channel, and anyone with some tenacity can continue to run a YouTube channel. They don't necessarily either have to be any good or know what they're talking about. They just have to keep doing it and finding their flock, as it were. And guitar magazines have, you know, there's some legendary people working there, and you must know Jamie Humphreys, a friend of ours on the show, who came up with guitar techniques, and he's obviously got amazing skills and knowledge behind what he does. But one of the things that I think that YouTube can give that magazines can't is immediacy, and you seem to be bridging that gap at Music Radar. So to talk from my perspective, I remember doing a review of a Fender Strat, whatever it was at the time, Player Plus, and it just came out, and then one of the guitar magazines had a massive Fender section, and it didn't talk about the Player Plus at all. And it made me realize that guitar magazine was not giving value for reviews at that point, and I found it quite comical. But the rest of the magazine was really good in the point of education and learning, and the classic track or whatever it was that month was great. But this is what I'm talking about, adaptability and evolution. I think reviews in magazines, printed magazines now, are honestly a little bit laughable from a YouTuber's point of view, because they're instantly outdated. We don't get the information that far ahead that it can go into print. So I've seen some magazines kind of, I can't say fail, but certainly fail me as a reader by being out of touch with what's currently available. So Music Radar, that you're responsible for with the guitar department, you seem to be bridging that gap between what the magazines can offer and what people on YouTube and things like that can offer by being more immediate. So I hope I'm not unfair in saying that about magazines, but I don't think that if I were running magazines now, I would certainly come away from reviews. I don't think that's something that can offer value, as you said, Rob.
I mean, that's a whole other thing. Reviews. I would defend mags quite fiercely on that front.
Please do. I'd love to hear your opinion.
I'm not sure, you know, the Player Plus thing, what that refers to, but, you know, my own experience writing reviews for mags, it's no different to when I'm writing for the site. writing a review for the site. I just have more words. I can waffle a bit more because they're not going to cut it down. But I really put myself through the ringer. I can only speak for my own reviews, because I am like, what if someone buys it based on what I'm writing? That's always my thought. But it's always interesting hearing the perspective of YouTube reviewers on this stuff. It's fact, I should be interviewing you really, which I might. You guys have got a different, a different perspective. Print lead times are always going to impact, and the restrictions of words. What you can say in a 15-minute video, it just dwarfs what you can say in a few pages. You're lucky if you get a 3-page review. So it's being able to tell that story in a much more condensed way in a mag. And there's a mag like Guitarist, Dave Burlock, who's the reviews editor over there and has been for years. He's opening up the guitars to look at the tone circuits and things. I'm not seeing many YouTubers doing stuff like that. So it's a level of it's a level of detail, even in the map.
I do that. That's one of my USPs is that I do open them up and do look inside. But it may even have been inspired. I mean, it's built out of curiosity, and I want to offer something that no one else is offering. But certainly, I've seen that they do it in magazines now, and Sorry, I know I stopped you in your train of speaking there, but that's an example of them of realizing they need to offer more. And I'm certainly not knocking guitar reviews. I love reading guitar reviews in magazines. I was just talking about the immediacy of it. Yeah.
That's where there's huge opportunities for Music Radar, I think. And it's really nice to be able to hone in on smaller brands, smaller builders, especially with the pedal. The pedal community is amazing. It's a worldwide community now. I think it's amazing how accessible that someone with a work ethic can be a one-man operation. I can get a pedal off the ground, and within a week of getting units out, you guys can be creating a buzz for that person. I think that's amazing. It's hard for me to be too much of a spokesperson for mags though. I can only talk about what was. Yeah, but I still write for those for mags of the same kind of values that I would write for the site, definitely. And reviews are like a whole minefield in themselves.
But that's the thing. There are so many YouTubers out there that people find their favorites, and I've certainly found that through running a YouTube channel. Some people absolutely hate me, and they hate everything I do, and some people tolerate it, and some people enjoy it. And with a magazine, there's less on offer. So whereas we said right at the beginning of the show that I'm a total guitar kind of person, but I can find enjoyment from Guitarist. I think it's all about choice and therefore trust. So you're putting your trust. And you mentioned, Rob, that or to paraphrase what you said, you feel a responsibility when you review something that someone might buy it. I feel exactly the same thing. And there's so much. It's so nice to hear you say that. Firstly, as someone I don't know, to also feel a responsibility to someone purchasing something, because I always think if someone's about to start guitar, that's the one I always think about with the affordable stuff. If someone's about to begin a guitar, become a guitar player, and you put them off, or one sells them a guitar that isn't good, you could kill a guitar career right before it starts, and that's something that really is horrible. So guitar magazines really offer a lot for the beginner, and that's when I fell in love with Total Guitar, for example.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways I'm still, I'm not playing a custom shop guitar, and I get the sense from you that you're very much connected to your audience. You're looking for the best tone for the best price. That's me. So much so that over lockdown I got really into mod inside, which you just don't want to see me with a soldering iron. It's terrible, but but I got really into how good can I get an affordable guitar, not just for myself, because I want the
Mhm.
best guitar I can get, you know, because I can't afford to buy really expensive guitars, and you know, we don't get given really expensive guitars, unfortunately. And you learn so much more about tone that way as well. You know, I would say to anyone, you know, don't be afraid to tinker, because you start to learn a lot more about your sound.
Mm.
But you know, don't buy a cheap soldering iron. Just don't.
I've been there. I've done it. I mean, the difference between a cheap soldering iron and a decent one is probably only, to put it in euros, about 40 euros. And still, I bought the cheap one, and I've ruined a lot of pots in my time.
I'm blaming it on the soldering iron. It could be that. Yeah, that was something I was thinking. Why are we still soldering? You know, 70 years on.
Yeah.
Why a guitar? You know, so much. Look at how things have changed on YouTube, and how the things that haven't changed.
True.
It always fascinates me. I mean,
I think
so many
EMG tried
people,
their best, right?
Yeah.
Pardon?
They had the connectors.
Yeah.
Right?
Was it? Dan, was it an Ibanez I opened up recently that had quick connectors in it?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that EMG started with that.
Yeah. I mean, someone in the chat will let me know, but I did a video in the past week or so where there was quick connectors in it. It was either a Harley Benton or an Ibanez.
Epiphone have, because I actually fitted an Epiphone harness into a telly, like 4-control layout.
Cool.
Sweet.
Cool.
And it's just so much easier having less
Yeah.
to solder. I'm a bit of a. I'm very much like a tinkerer, trying to save as much money as possible. So yeah, I'm not your typical person that's.
There's a lot to be said for being a little bit tight with money. I absolutely agree. I love getting, like, you must know. Do you know Iron Gear pickups? Being in the UK, they are awesome. And you do not need, I mean, there's some stuff to be said for some of the bigger brands, but Iron Gear are a great example of modding guitars. You can throw those in and they will almost always be an upgrade on what came with the guitar on certain price points.
Yeah.
But the fact that those exist and all you need to do is learn to solder, which is an ongoing journey for me. But yeah, changing pickups, it's a great question. Why aren't we always doing quick connectors? It would make sense. I guess compatibility would be the answer.
Yeah,
or lack
I
of
just hope it doesn't put a lot of people off, because one of the great things about guitar is being able to kind of hone. You get the guitar you like, then you change things. You almost create your own signature model. That's I love the idea of someone doing that in an affordable way, rather than because no guitar is going to be perfect off the shelf. Well, some are, but I'm always tinkering with guitars. Probably, I'm not really playing enough now because I'm tinkering too much.
Yeah,
that's another problem.
We've got some comments on the soldering and things, so I'm going to read a few of those out. And Poo Ninja says that a good solder joint will last longer than most humans. Plastic connectors break. Soldering from Buzzle, soldering is reliable and not that hard. I have to agree, but there is a talent to it. And Rob, I'm sure you're far better than you're claiming to be, but I feel your pain.
It's just the main. There's the couple of times where you just want a third hand. You just need another hand. Yeah. So
I've got 2 kids, so they're always pottering around somewhere. Just don't hold the shiny bit of the soldering iron. Don't hold that bit. You'll be fine. Sarang has an interesting take on this. As much as I think soldering is outdated, said Sarang, I love doing it. It's a meditative exercise for me.
I like that. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned the hard way that you shouldn't breathe in the fumes, though. massive headache one day and couldn't figure out how to lie down.
Oh well.
Yeah, but Dan.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of push us a little bit more into the direction where magazines are headed. So I'm sure you kind of do some research on the readers' preferences on the website. What is it that they are gravitating towards when it comes to the segments on Music Radar Are there more clicking articles about news or more about reviews? Like, what's the most
News,
clicked kind of segments?
artist news is big,
Okay.
but we're seeing growth in reviews, definitely.
Okay.
You know, without saying too much, yeah, I think things like pedals are the great uniters, aren't they? They're like, people can afford to, well, not afford to, but are likely to buy one online, maybe take a chance on a pedal, watch a few demos, people like yourself, and then, you know, and I think there's a real interest in pedal reviews. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of growth in artist news, definitely. That's just an ongoing thing. But you know, affordable gear is huge. It's,
Yeah.
you know, the Harley Benton type products, which has been, you know, it's great. It's opening up people to owning more guitars, and but also, you know, the affordable end of big brands like Ibanez and ESP and Squire are always popular. Epiphone. It's good to see.
It's interesting. It's the same sort of same. If I was to ask that question, that's the same thing I would say. Pedals unite, and for me, videos of pedals, they do okay and they grow over time, and a pedal will have a longer lifetime for the video, a pedal review. Whereas guitars, people buy guitars less often unless they're affordable. If I do an affordable video, it pretty much goes through the roof straight away. And then when I take that and I mod that guitar, as we were talking, then, you know, you've got this thing that feeds into itself. But yeah, it's interesting that the artist stuff, that's really encouraging, because it's good to know that people are actually still listening to music and not just buying pedals and collecting them and stuff.
Yeah, people connect with artists massively. With the site had its biggest month ever in the end of last year. We hit like 4.5 million unique users in a month. So
wow,
that was a combination of a lot of things coming together, I think, that we've invested in. And yeah, it's just really exciting being out. It's such a different perspective for me coming from print and being able to react and seeing exactly what's happening in real time and being able to react to that. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested in the kind of gear coverage that we can offer and explore. You know, and I'm very much watching people like yourselves and how you approach things. You know, and the inclusive way that you do that. You know, you maybe want to buy a Slotver pedal. Is it Slotver?
Oh, wow.
Walrus.
Yeah.
I need to stop
That's
watching pedal demos.
It's really easy to grab that card, isn't it, and just type in some numbers at the end of a video. Oh. Rob, what's coming from print into now online media? What's the one thing that you miss most coming from magazines into online journalism?
Getting the mag back, and I used to love seeing the cover come together, and you know, and photo shoots and things like that we do less of, but there's a lot less of that going on at the moment because of COVID as well, because bands are in bubbles and things on tour. But yeah, getting the mag back was always exciting, seeing the, you know, but you know, try not to find any mistakes. That's the scariest thing about print.
Yeah.
It's like you put something online. I mean, I suppose it's like you guys with a video. If you spot a mistake and it's gone up, what can you do? Replace the video? I don't. It's much harder, isn't it?
You have to take the video down and put a new video up. So therefore, it's a new piece of content or a new product, if you will, a new magazine, a new print. I did it just this week. I was reviewing this guitar, which is the Jupiter from Valiant, and my model has the Planet Wave machine heads, and the new models have the Goldo. And I said, these are the Goldo 510 locking tuners, and they're not. They're Planet Waves. So yeah, I made a mistake, and you just have to live with it. And you know, people might mention you in the comments, and then you get to respond to it. I guess you didn't get that with the magazine. You can at least change something in the comments or the video description or the title. But in a magazine, once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah, it's a very different experience. But it, I loved it. I loved it. I got to meet so many people that I always just saw myself as a messenger, relaying. It wasn't about me. It was trying to get the right inspirational quotes and insight from an artist, because I did a lot of artist interviews and, convey that to inspire someone else. And I just love doing that. And I still love to do it. I don't do as many interviews now, but I still love doing that.
Yeah. Also, you got to say that magazines, that they are some sort of historic document, and even a curated website like Music Radar, you always have a very well-maintained archive of articles and stuff that you can find. Whereas in the special social media realms, everything is so quick-paced and elusive, and you see it and you've almost forgotten about that already. So I like that sort of added immersion as well. So I can spend hours reading magazines, and I can also get completely lost on those digital magazines like Premier Guitar or Music Radar.
There is something amazing about an impactful feature intro spread with an artist, where you can get a whole vibe of the piece and the artist from that. You just can't convey online so much. I mean, you can do other great things where people can read about a song and they can click on a thing to hear it straight away, so they know exactly what the guitar player's talking about. So they're different strengths, really, and different advantages.
Yeah, I had the Total Guitar iPad readable version subscription, and had that for a few months, and then ended up upgrading, I guess, spending more money to have the print version as well. And even though the iPad, I could press the button on the screen, it would play the backing track, it would play whatever I was trying to experience, and the magazine couldn't do that. And you had to put the CD in and stuff, which is still amazes me that it comes with a CD. I was hoping at some point, I know you can download stuff, but where am I going with this? What I'm trying to say is that I still see that tangible magazine and CD experience as something that I want to experience.
Yeah.
And I think, to come full circle around to the beginning of the conversation, I think the three of us are saying, at least for us in our age group, magazines are very much still relevant and still something I want to experience as a player. And someone's just brought up in the chat, actually, Fergie in France, adverts in magazines, looking at old adverts in magazines from the 90s and stuff. And Fergie's just written, I love and hate old magazines for the adverts. Marshall Blues Breaker for £69.99. Yeah, the old adverts are fantastic.
Oh yeah.
What's interesting as well is that beginners guitars, are still relatively cheap now. Compared to what they were. It's the vintage stuff will make you cry when you see the old adverts for vintage listings with old Les Pauls. It's just like, oh my god. If only you could go back. But
yeah. Well, we can't, so we should buy those new Ibanez $15,000 ones, and we'll be sitting on our $200,000 in 6 months. That's my prediction.
Rob, is there a headline that you would like to read on Music Radar?
Oh no, that's just, who would I want to reform? They've all got,
they're all dead. I got to say, Dan, while he's thinking, that's a great question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Andy, what would you like to read on Music Radar or in Total Guitar Magazine or one of those magazines?
I'd like to read that the presidents of the United States of America are playing in Wels Oberösterreich, so I can go and see them next week. Well, and then Ben Folds 5 are also co-playing, because I missed both bands. That would, off the top of my head, that's my top of the head answer.
I always wanted to do a rig tour with Pearl Jam. That's just a personal thing. That might not mean anything to a lot of people, but yeah, that never quite happened. But yeah, I'd like to see
Is
somebody.
it you
do
that
that.
did the? Is it you that did the 1991 pedal in that case?
It was, yeah.
That's what I was reading because I've read a
Well,
lot of
here,
your stuff
actually.
recently. Oh, there it is.
There it is, yeah.
I saw that you were very. I read, sorry, that you were very complimentary of that pedal. And Andrew from Funny Little Boxes is great. I bought some stuff from him, and I just wonder how much of your personal guitar playing preferences do you get to bring to your job?
That's interesting. That's one thing I would say to anyone reviewing is just you got to set that stuff aside because whenever I have to set that stuff aside. I think with that was a bit different. I was kind of like me and two of the other former editors of Total Guitar and the current editor-in-chief of GuitarWorld.com used to play in a grunge covers band together.
Cool.
So we're all kind of biased with anything like that. But yeah, I'd set it aside, and I'm always surprised by what I play. You know, I do. It will if a guitar's lightweight, it's always going to kind of be on side with me. But you know, I've given good scores to plenty of heavy guitars. You know, because it's not an issue for plenty of people. So I can't assume that. You know, I think I'm good at that now. Of putting aside my own taste, but I think it's complicated. It does come into play, doesn't it? You know, your demos might be better for something that is up your street. You know, you're
I think it's very different with YouTube. I think, as you're saying, you have to be quite universal because there are less magazines, less online journalists. But as a YouTube channel, I would almost do the opposite and lean into what my passion is. Fuzz pedals, for example, because I can't hide my joy for them. At least in a magazine article, you can think about rewriting something a little better, or you can, you know, fluff it out a little bit with some fairness. I can't be fair because I have a passion for them.
With Andy in the 91, it's like it's a great story as well of a guy who the way that started, and that actually started with us doing a news story. One of my mates said, "Look, have you seen this?" And the news story did really well. People connect with, you know, grunge. That era does really well online, I find.
It really,
and it's an affordable pedal. It's just, it ticks so many boxes for me, you know, and it's just like I love the fact that he collaborated with some other British builders on it and everything. It's just a great, really like positive story. So yeah, that's been one of my favorite things lately.
Cool.
Good.
But,
it's nice to have some favorites.
Gear is like, people have never had it so good. You know, it's just so, last year was probably the best year I remember for gear. Honestly, like just with the quad cortex, things like that, it was just so good.
What was the best piece of gear
so
that you reviewed and maybe did not buy afterwards?
I was really surprised by the Acoustasonic because initially I was like, when I saw it in NAMM, I was like, oof. I ended up loving it, especially the Jazzmaster one.
Oh yeah,
really cool. The humbucker in that was really cool, and that was one where I had to try to change my perception of it. Like I didn't know what I was. Am I playing an electric with acoustic sounds, or am I playing? And for me, it's more of an acoustic with a stage acoustic with more possibilities. I think if you approach it as an electric guitar, you might be disappointed because it doesn't really sound like the Tele one doesn't really sound like a classic Tele tank. But that's a really cool piece of gear because it got people talking and changed my perceptions. You know, it's one of the best sounding acoustic live sounds, and I used to play acoustic in a rock band, and it's just horrendous. Like,
it's always a compromise, right?
Drummer with an acoustic.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I'm a massive fan of the Acoustasonic.
Yeah, really cool guitar.
It's hard being a guitar YouTuber and liking the Acoustasonic. That's a hard job.
Not enough people play it. You know, that's the thing. People have opinions, and that's cool. But when you play it, it kind of like, you're like, this is really different. This is like two things at once in a lot of ways, and in a really cool way. So, you know, and some people would never stand on stage with one. I can understand that, but yeah.
I have.
Yeah,
I've done it, and I got laughed at.
Good. I'd play, if I was playing acoustic in a band, I'd play one tomorrow, and you know, But yeah, a really just interesting year with that, and the Cortex, and even things like the Fender Micro
Mustang.
Mustang.
Correct.
That's like a huge thing for me because I've got kids as well. I don't have an amp in the lounge, and I can just plug in, and within seconds I can be playing. That's a huge thing for me, like the setting up thing when you've not got a lot of time. That's a really cool. It just changes the way you play. So yeah, I love things like that, and again, really accessibly priced. I'm not on commission. Like, I sound like I've advertised this stuff now, but it was just a lot of good gear, in the UA, Universal Audio pedals. I would never have thought I would pay £300 for a pedal, and I bought an Astra.
Wow, there you go.
I
Then.
didn't even like modulation in my pedal board a few years ago.
Mm,
So
it changes. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's expensive
certainly
hobby.
It really, really is. So expensive, but one of the most rewarding, definitely.
So Rob, just one additional question: if you wanted to give our viewers and also the listeners on the podcast an impression of what the editor Rob is all about, what do you think is the best or the quintessential article you've written? The article that represents you as a writer, as an editor, the best.
It's hard to think of one. Just
Just from
visit
the
the
top of
site
your head,
every
is there-
day, and you'll get a different perspective on that.
Yeah, but there must
I
be.
can't-
I imagine there are a couple of stories that you were super proud of, either because it was, like you said, you changed your view within the article, or it turned out super good, and you got a lot of positive response, or something like that.
Yeah. Nothing's jumping at, you think it's this, I forget, I do write so much. I really enjoy writing reviews lately, like the 1991 pedal. I got to tell a bit of a story about the background of the pedal. Whenever there's a story around the gear, it's cool. But one thing is I'd like to do more advice pieces. I've written a few advice pieces on practice sessions, playing gigs based on my own mistakes and my own experience, because I'm constantly learning when I play live. And so anything, I've got a few pieces of advice articles like that, anything that draws on my own experience, I think is always the most rewarding, and I hope people can get something out of it, because I'm like anyone else out there, I'm just learning all the time and falling flat on my face sometimes.
We all do.
Yeah.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to end it there, guys. But I never knew where this conversation was going to go, Rob. We've never met, and although we seem to be aware of each other online, and that's really cool that everything's connected in a really positive way. And I'm really enjoying your writing and the stuff I've read more of your recent stuff, of course, in preparation for talking with you. But absolutely, if anyone's more interested in Rob's stuff, then you should go and check him out at musicradar.com, or go to a charity shop and pick up some old copies of Total Guitar, or come to my house and rifle through the bins because I've got loads of them. But Rob, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have, because
I have.
it's been
Thank
fun.
you to you too. It's a great show. It really is. I'm not just saying that because I'm here. It's such a cool show. It's like, it makes me remember why I like guitar. So yeah.
Oh, that's a compliment.
Well
That's
done,
great.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
sincerely, well done on what you've done and what you're
Well,
doing.
I hope we cross paths professionally and personally again.
Yeah.
And if you're at NAMM or something, you can always holler from across the other side of the the hall, and I'll make my way towards you over the day. Yeah. Dan, do you want to ask people to give us some reviews and ratings on iTunes and stuff like that, my friend?
Absolutely. If you enjoyed this show with Rob and want to listen to more episodes, or even dive deep into the back catalog of older episodes, feel free to check out iTunes. And while you're there, give us a 5-star rating to make sure that we're able to continue the show and get more exposure and spread the word, and enthuse more people about the guitar.
Wow. Can't say it any better than that, Dan. Thank you to the people in the chat as well. It's nice to see you guys amusing yourselves and also joining in the conversation. It's always fun. I can see the
It's
chat.
really
It's just
cool
hard
actually
to-
watching.
Yeah, it's
got
hard
a
to
really nice
include it
positive
all.
community.
It is. People are very nice, especially the bass players. You know, just before we leave, the bass players that watch this channel are some of the nicest people.
Yeah.
We'd be nothing without bass players.
Nothing.
Yep.
Just idiots with 6 strings. All right, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you want to join us again at some time, that would be great. So, Rob, thank you. I hope you come back as well, because I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about, and things will have changed because things progress so quickly. So, I would love to have you back on in a few months or something like that,
I'd
just
love
to
to.
see what's going down in Robtown.
Yeah. Thank you for
Okay,
having
well,
me, guys.
that's it for this evening or this afternoon, wherever you are. I'm going to go and rewatch the latest episode of Boba Fett, Dan, just so we've spoken about it. We never talked about it, but I'm going to go and watch it again. I'm not ready for bed.
All right. Well then, enjoy.
I shall. Or Snowpiercer.
You can pierce some snow. There you go.
I'm going to pierce some snow. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Cheers, Rob. Cheers, Dan.
Bye.
Guitar Stories Podcast, your #1 show for everything guitar.